Well, hey, I decided that I would jump on here and do a little video about wearing masks. I know that there are a lot of people that find wearing a mask uncomfortable. Look, I'm color coordinated today. I am not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just sharing from my own personal experience some things that I thought might be helpful. So, I have at various times in the past suffered with anxiety and had some panic attacks, and thank God haven't had any for years and years. But when I was having trouble with that stuff, a lot of times the way it would manifest itself was I felt like I couldn't get a deep enough breath, almost like there was a band tightened around my rib cage or something. And if I was in a small closed up space, maybe like a small elevator or very small room, I would have to just, okay, I'm breathing, just relax. When you do get a panic attack or sort of a panic reaction, one of the things that happens is adrenaline is released in your system. That's that fight or flight kind of hormone thing where you feel like, I've got to do something now. That's the kind of thing that when you hear the lady carries the 400-pound couch out of her burning house so it won't be, lost in the fire. It's the adrenaline that gives her the strength to do it. But anyway, this is what happens when you have a release of adrenaline. This hormone is running through your bloodstream, through your whole body, causing reactions. Your heart beats faster, you're breathing faster, you feel all keyed up. And it's not possible to calm yourself down. If somebody said, now just calm down, you couldn't do it because that's not what is happening in your body at the time. But it does run its course in a few minutes if you make an effort to just try to breathe as deeply, slowly as you can, to try not to feed into it and get more and more and more hyped up and panicked. It will run its course and then it will peter out and you'll be able to be calm again. So I was thinking, about the masks. When some people feel that they cannot breathe properly in them, they can get themselves sort of psyched up into panicking, and then the whole adrenaline thing happens and they rip the mask off and it's sort of a fiasco. So how can that be avoided? Well, one way it can is by practicing with a mask. Now, I tell you right now that those blue on one side, white on the other side, papery sort of, soft masks that they'll wear in the doctor's offices, those are easier to breathe through than most fabric masks. But I use a fabric mask so I can wash it and everything, because those blue ones, after you use them a few times, you can't wash them. You just got to throw them away. Okay. When you are breathing, in the cold weather when you go, it's like vapor. You can see vapor coming out of your mouth, or you blow out through your nose and you see it, Well, that is actually your warm breath forming little moisture globules, almost like steam in the air. And you're seeing your breath. Usually people say, oh, look, I can see my breath when, on the first super cold day or when it snows or something. Well, the reason that when you're wearing a mask, it feels warm and kind of close in there is because of that breath. And your breath is not just going out everywhere. it's being confined inside that mask. Now, obviously not all of it, this is not an impermeable thing. Air does come back and forth through it. I mean, look, I can pull it tight over my lips. You could probably see it going in and out a little bit. I was just breathing in and out through my mouth. Now, that was not so comfortable, but of course when I'm wearing it, there's some give there. So one way to start with the mask is to remind yourself when you're wearing it, if it feels really warm in there, that's because it's doing what it's supposed to do. It is trapping some of your breath so that it's not going out all over. So just in case you do have whatever kind of virus or disease or something, you're not just exhaling it all over for other people to inhale or, get on them. So first of all, know that that's a sign that it's working. Sometimes it helps to know when something is uncomfortable, that it's uncomfortable because it's doing its job, and that helps you put up with some of the discomfort. So one way to start with your mask is, just go around, kind of hang it from one ear, or even, wear it under your chin a little bit, and you can kind of get used to, it's kind of pulling on your ears a little, because some people, when they get upset, their ears get hot and stuff, so that might help you there. And then start off like this. This is one way. Just put it over your mouth, not over your nose, okay? And try to relax and breathe. Now, I'll take it off so you can see me speaking. If you can be at home or someplace where you're not being bothered, put on some relaxing music, or maybe even a TV show that really engages you. And then it'll help take your mind off of this. But while it's taking your mind off of it, you're actually getting a little desensitized to it. In other words, you're not as sensitive to it because of the fact that it is on, but your mind's being occupied elsewhere, okay? And then, after you're good like this, go ahead and put it up over your nose. Now, I'll tell you something. Now, okay, look at me breathing. That's through my mouth. I'm going to breathe through my nose. Now, I'm going to tell you something interesting. I had to wear this the other day. I was going to Walmart pickup, and they want you to have a mask on, even though you stay in your car, because you might need to talk to the customer service person through your open window. So I had the mask on, and I realized I was much more aware of my breathing. But I was aware that I was breathing in a big breath and out. And in and out. I was taking good, deep breaths. It was very relaxing. It was a kind of breathing I only do if I'm doing a relaxation kind of thing. And I realized, when my mask becomes uncomfortable, if I have to wear it for a while and it's getting hot in there, I think about but wait, if I breathe slowly through my nose, in and out, it relaxes me. And I even, after a certain point, I could feel like my chest opening up some, like I was taking deeper breaths than what I usually take, deep breathing instead of shallow breathing. So now I'm the kind of person that likes to try to think of a positive way to deal with something that maybe might not strike me as positive, in the beginning. So I sort of naturally tend to think this way about, well, what would be good? What would feel good about this? And, that thing about the deeper breathing really helped me, and thinking about how when it feels warm in there, that's because it's doing its job. All that, what we see when we see our breath, all that's getting caught behind this fabric. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Some of it, okay? Now, one other way you can get used to wearing your mask too, besides the way I suggested, especially with the whole distraction thing to help desensitize you, is just like this. Just spend some time breathing it, holding it over. Now see, I've got a big opening here. I've got an opening here. It's not like it would be if it was on with the things behind my ears. I'm just holding it in front of my face. And what that's doing is it's restricting my breath a little bit, but it's getting me used to that feeling of restricting my breath a little. Now here's the thing, it's restricting my breath a little, but it's not restricting my taking in of oxygen, okay? It feels funny. It feels like, oh no, I can't get enough breath. But yeah, I get enough breath. I'm not, passing out or going, oh, something like this. I'm getting enough breath. It's just that this being over my face makes me much more aware of my breathing. And some people might occupy themselves with thoughts like, oh my gosh, am I getting enough air? Oh my gosh. And they start doing this gasping, taking in a lot of oxygen and not exhaling enough carbon dioxide. And just one last detail, what happens to you, this is hyperventilation. You're breathing in a lot of oxygen, but you're not breathing out a lot of carbon dioxide. Taking these big breaths in. Well, you need carbon dioxide to signal your brain and your lungs to inhale, okay? When you sigh, you end up doing the whole thing. Like some people will get nervous and they'll go, and they're blowing out all their carbon dioxide. That's kind of the opposite of taking these big breaths and letting out little breaths. You could also take in a breath but let out a big breath. If you blow off your carbon dioxide, then some people end up getting a panic attack then, or they go, I feel like I can't get a breath. Well, you know what? If you do that, you know why they tell you to breathe into a paper bag? Of course, these days, who can find a paper bag? Oh, I guess some places are offering paper again, but anyway. So you breathe in and out in a paper bag, and you end up taking in more carbon dioxide, and then your lungs go, oh, okay, let's get back to our regular rhythm. Now, I'm not a doctor, so the way I explain this may not be exactly medically correct, but the point is that if you're either taking huge breaths in and little breaths out, or you're taking a breath in but letting a really big breath out by sighing, that can upset your breathing. So when you've got the mask in, there can be a tendency to breathe funny like that. And then it's true that your body is not signaling your breath to happen the way it normally does, and you start to feel funny, and then you can go into the whole panic thing. So, what we want to do is stay as far away as possible from having a panic reaction because the mask feels funny. So, one, accustom yourself to it. When you can be someplace that is quiet and you can concentrate, or maybe have something on, music or TV or I don't know, crossword puzzle, whatever, read a book, something that distracts your attention so you're not thinking about the mask. 2 is to practice, having it on, hang it from your ear, hold it in front, start like that, the other things that I said. And 3 is learning to keep on breathing normally so you don't end up triggering some sort of a panic reaction or panicked thinking, and then it escalates into a panic attack. So anyway, I've got all these cute patterned and colored masks that I got from Old Navy online. I think it's so funny that it happens to match what I'm wearing today, the one that I had handy. It's funny because while I said, thinking about the good points, that I know the mask is doing its job because it's warm in there, and it makes me more aware of my breathing. Consequently, I tend to breathe more deeply, which is good for me. And what was the point I was going to make? Somebody just said hi to me on here, and I'm all distracted. Okay. Golly, I don't remember, but I think I've said enough stuff that, you can get the idea that it is possible to acclimatize yourself to the mask. I wouldn't try to run while I'm wearing it. Because look, I'm probably not going to get enough air quickly enough if I'm running when I have a mask on, okay? I just thought of one other thing that's good to mention. I was in Germany and England during part of December and January. And while we were there, it was very cold in both places. And we wore these, it was almost like a tubular scarf, but you pulled it up over, right up to here, and it went all the way around. It was a circular thing, just like a tube. And almost everybody was wearing those. People wear those when they're skiing too. I forget what they're called, neck gaiters or something like that. Anyway, you were a little more aware of your breathing with that on, but that's what you do when it's real cold, so you don't end up having, snotsicles hanging out of your nose and stuff. But anyway, I just made that up. That's not a technical term, by the way. All right, but the point is, try to think in a peaceful way about this. Look, if anybody sends you any of those conspiracy theories, just delete them. Oh my goodness. Right now, this is not politics that I'm talking to you about. This is caring about other people and protecting them in case you are spreading germs. I know I keep saying just one last thing, but this is the last thing. I used to work at a Japanese company, and whenever any of the guys from Japan or the girls from Japan would have a cold or, a cough or some sort of a respiratory thing, they would come in wearing a mask, the kind like that are formed, or like the ones I was talking about that are blue and white. Anyway, that was just standard operating procedure for them because they come from a very crowded country. And when people are sick, they don't want to spread it to other people. So like in Japan, that's, it's common to be wearing a mask. So anyway, I hope that this helps, or maybe if you have a friend that has a problem with wearing a mask because it's uncomfortable, let them listen to this and maybe it will help them. Because being uncomfortable doesn't, it doesn't naturally figure that means you don't do it. There are ways to become more comfortable and to use the very fact that it is uncomfortable to remind you that it's important and it's serving a good purpose. So So I hope that that helps everybody. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below. God bless you.